Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the FM Channel podcast. I'm Claudio Rojas. I'm one of the co-owners and senior recruiters at Alex Young Recruitment. I'm really excited with today's guest. We've got Colin Tegg on the show. Colin, how you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good. So some of you might have seen on LinkedIn in the last kind of few weeks or a few months, Colin's kind of cropped up quite a bit actually on the old LinkedIn, on social media. So that's why I got him onto the show, so to discuss that in a bit more detail. But firstly, the show's all about learning, about why or how people have got into FM, what they do within FM in a bid to inspire other people. So, Colin, can you just give us a quick overview as to how you got into FM in the first place, however long ago that was, and some of your roles that you've had since?
Yeah, absolutely. My journey into FM was like everybody else's, I think. I fell into it by fluke.
Classic.
So 15, 16 years ago, I had a friend that was in FM. They had a temp job for a couple of weeks in the summer. Can you come and fill a spot for us, mate? Well, of course I can. And it was literally sorting the post out in the morning, delivering the parcels around the building and so on. 2 weeks led into 2 months, led into 6 months, led into a year, 2 years, and so on and so on. Along the way, picked up the cleaning contract, front of house. Went from there into sort of a bit of a contracty type role with Carillion, mobilising a site for a company. We moved from an old dilapidated building into a brand new campus of 4 all singing, all dancing buildings over in Frimley. And then kind of just built my career that way, really. It's just kind of happened to be in the right places at the right time, I guess. And,
yeah. And so did you kind of start in-house or for a service provider? Whereabouts?
So I started
the first role?
My career started, very much. So it started with Johnson Controls. So it was Johnson Controls, Carillion, and then I went to GVA Acuity.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I flicked across into the more comfortable side, should we say, of being the client.
Oh, nice. How was that? Everyone always wants to kind of go onto the other side after being a service provider.
Yeah.
They always say, I want an easier life. Is it easier?
There's different demands, I guess. So I worked for a pretty awesome company, in it being I worked for the Lego Group.
Oh, nice.
We had an FM provider that was doing all the day-to-day operational stuff. So my role was very much about managing them. But also strategically looking at what the future looked like for other offices or space growth, or taking on. So I ended up looking after the Germany office and the France office and so on.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
So it brought.
How long were you there for?
Just shy of 4 years, I think, in the end. Again, another redundancy story, unfortunately, but yeah, it was. It was a really enjoyable, fun time working there.
Yeah, no, sounds like a fun place, actually. Cool. So that's been a bit of your journey. So, and then earlier this year, you were made redundant just before the pandemic. Is that right?
No, just towards the tail end. It's the middle of June.
Right.
It was when my one journey ended and a new one started. Yeah.
So what's quite interesting is that obviously there's a lot of people who are unfortunately being made redundant or on furlough, possibly due to be made redundant, and the job market is not great at the minute. It's really challenging. It's very tough. Obviously, I know, because we're kind of trying to find people work, and I think a lot of people have turned more so to LinkedIn than ever before, with their personal branding, getting the name out there, and it's great to see. I think people have been using it a lot more. But what I remember seeing a couple of your videos where you put yourself out there, and then regularly saw your updates, which has then eventually led you to getting the job where you are now, all through your own work, really. So not through an agency, recruiter, or people that you've known. It's been purely from the content that you put out. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So talk me through like the beginning of that. So when you were made redundant, what did you think? What was your approach?
So I didn't really have an approach, if I'm honest. So I had 2 weeks of sitting around trying to gauge what had just happened, what was unfolding in general in the pandemic anyway.
Yeah.
I became a bit of a pain around the house. I became a bit of a nuisance with everything else. So it was kind of, but it was a good 2 weeks to just come completely out of the whole journey, recharge, and set myself up. I had spoken to a couple of people I knew that kind of said, LinkedIn is the place to be. It's what you need to do. It's how you need to use it. Best to use it. But a lot of it was very much talking around. You have to push yourself outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me on a personal level will know I'm up for a laugh. I'm always quite, front and center in taking the mickey and sarcastic and da. But actually, putting yourself on that platform for others to see is quite a daunting task in itself.
Yeah.
So it was trying to find that right balance between the sarcasm, a bit of humour, and actual some real life, guys, I need help, I'm looking for a job.
Yeah. And did you kind of take inspiration from anybody in particular, or did you kind of like have a little study of it first, or did you just kind of say, I'm just going to think about what you were going to put out there, or?
No. So my first post was very much suck it and see.
Yeah.
See what response you get. All of my posts, there was a common theme that whatever the topic I was talking about, the video would very loosely have some sort of random connection to that conversation.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to be a theme that worked.
Yeah.
So you kind of
you stuck with that, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. And you kept coming up on my feed, so you're obviously doing something well, because I think that's the whole point, is that with LinkedIn, you kind of, the more kind of views that you get or engagement that you get on your content, then the more you're going to keep cropping up in people's feed. So I saw you a lot in a good way, and it's kind of, so you're obviously doing something right. And just to tell me, I mean, the engagement you got was pretty positive. I mean, I could see that there was you're getting a lot of likes, a lot of comments on what you're putting out there, and encouragement.
Yeah. I mean, I think I possibly had one negative comment throughout the whole thing.
Oh, really?
The rest of it was very much, keep up the good work. These posts are brilliant. We really enjoy watching them. Actually, some people are saying this is the first thing they look for in the morning over their coffee. Let's go and find Colin's post and see what he's talking about today. But that kind of helped me then train into where and what time to make these posts.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of, I guess what worked out in my head that the niche market was the breakfast bunch. So I get up at 6 o'clock every morning, regardless of what I was doing. I'd take the dog for a walk. I'd come back. I'd make a post, because between 7 and 8:30, people were having their breakfast, cup of tea, and just scrolling through LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's right.
And you get the visibility, you get the hits.
Yeah. You got the whole day as well, haven't you? Because you've got the whole day to kind of get that traction. There's no point in doing it kind of towards the end of the day. Yeah.
Get it done early. Get all the hard work out the way almost, and then let it do its thing. Yeah.
So it's really interesting. So you basically, and obviously in between, you contacted me and potentially other agencies, of course, because you're unemployed, you're looking for work. And the job market is obviously pants. The job that you're in now came to you because of the content that they've seen. So to talk us through that, I mean, that must have been, you must have been so chuffed when that call came through, or that email.
Yeah. So it was, I'd made hundreds and hundreds of connections via LinkedIn over the last few months, and they've, each and every one of them have been a real positive for me, a bit of a morale boost, and so on and so on. And I got a random phone call one Friday afternoon, just to say that we've got this role. We'd like you to look at it. And I thought, oh yeah, okay. Well, it's Friday afternoon. It's 4 o'clock. Go on. Yeah, throw it my way. We got talking, and it was kind of, I'd made a connection. That connection had contacted their talent team and said, this guy looks like he could be something that could be useful for us.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that's how the conversation sparked. I spoke to the talent guy. We talked for probably a couple of calls during that first week. The normal stuff. What are you looking for? Where are you going? Why are you doing it? And then got into the nitty gritty of, this is the role. Well, yeah, what do you think? So yeah, it looked like a cool role. I applied, and here we are.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Is it interim? Is it permanent?
No, so it's a permanent role. It's working for the NHS. So, it ticked a lot of boxes for me in terms of it's somebody that I wanted to work for and with, rather than just, a random company that just happened to have a job. So for me, it gives me a lot of satisfaction in doing the role. I'm providing a service for the NHS, effectively. Yeah. Long may it continue.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. That's really good. I'm so pleased. It's such a great journey, and it's kind of your living proof that the kind of LinkedIn social media works if you're using it well. I mean, did you get many people contact you that are unemployed as well, that are out of work? They say, for advice or for tips or anything? Because obviously, they saw that you were doing it right.
Yeah, there was loads of. So some of my posts were, as cryptic as they may have been, they would allude to the fact that I had this magic formula in getting contacted with agencies or hiring managers or whoever it was. There was no secret formula to it, but people would ask me, how have you done it?
Yeah.
Well, it's just a bit of determination. I think overall, in its entirety, I probably only applied for about 15 or 20 roles.
Mm.
Of those 15 or 20 roles, part of my search would be to search out who the recruiter was or the hiring manager was.
Yeah.
But then rather than just send them a typed message on LinkedIn, I'd voice note them.
Right. Okay.
So that seemed to change the game slightly, because they weren't expecting a voice note. So
So for anyone listening out there, what does that? How do you do that?
So you can literally go onto LinkedIn. So where you type a message, you have the ability to. There's a little microphone button on the bottom corner.
Right. Okay.
You can push the button, talk into your phone. Hi, I'm Colin. I've just applied for the role as shoe salesman. Give us a shout. My number is blah blah blah. That's it. Send, and it goes. And it changed the game, because it wasn't a typed message, so somebody could hear that I wasn't an axe murderer. I was an approachable person, and the 2 or 3 that I started off doing it with, they came back to me quite quickly. Well, that's just blowing my mind. We've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
that's interesting. That's really interesting. Something I might use myself then when business developing new clients. That's really cool. Cool. That's really good. So moving, I guess because I mean, there's a lot of people obviously who are out there, unfortunately, out of work. I am seeing a lot more people using LinkedIn. What would be your top tips then, would you say, on how to use it effectively, or when you started to see the traction, what was it you thought this is the formula? Or
so for me, it was very much the timing had to be right. So as I said, it's the Breakfast Club people aim for the right time. So you build yourself the momentum for the day to get it done.
Yeah.
But also, everyone's got the common theme of we're all looking for work, but it's how you keep that serious title, but with a bit of humour in there to sort of show your personality a bit as well.
Yeah.
And just keep it light. Don't write War and Peace. Don't expect, or don't live and expect that you're gonna get 1,000 likes or 1,000 comments. And take it at face value. It's just don't read into what you're trying to do.
That's the key thing, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, you can get absorbed in checking LinkedIn every 30 seconds. Has someone responded? Has someone looked at it?
Yeah.
Post it, do it, leave it.
Leave it. Post it, do it, leave it. There it is. Post it. Colin has spoken. Oh man, that's really good, mate. And the new role, all going well?
Yep, very well, thank you. Yeah, it's end of week 4. It's interesting. It's challenging. It's everything you could imagine in an FM role, with a healthcare twist, which is good.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on the pubs closing at 10 o'clock?
I'm not allowed out past 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I know.
I'm too old
Everyone's
for that.
complaining. I'm trying to get into bed for 10 o'clock.
Exactly that. Yeah.
The kids are killing me. One thing I could do with that is actually having to work back at home again. That wasn't for me. I haven't got a spare room, so I'm kind of, as soon as our building was open, I was like, I'm going back to the office. I've got to get out of here.
I mean,
it's a madhouse.
Yeah.
Colin,
No,
listen, really, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I hope that you know there's people out there watching this or listening to it that can take a bit of inspiration to keep going, I guess. Because it can be done. You're living proof that you can find your own role. The role came to you, but you put the content out there on a regular basis, and just kind of you never gave up, and good for you, mate. Well done.
No, thank you. And you know, and to be fair, if anybody wants to contact me to ask me how I've done it, I'm more than happy to,
awesome,
you know, reply to messages and tell people the journey in more detail if they want to know.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Well, hopefully they will, and hopefully if this can help one or two other people out there, then that's great. I'm happy with that. That'd be awesome. Nice one. Okay, Colin, listen, I'll leave you to it anyway.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Good to speak to you.
Take care.
And you, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.